Well, let's go to Johnny and get that demonstration, and I'll load it again. Johnny, are you with us?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, I got you now, bud.
All right there. Let me run by a couple of things here real quick. I wanted to show you what I use there for sharpening and grinding. We were talking about the angles and that kind of thing. But when it's something that I use on a regular basis, this is what I've done on my grinders there. There's a little piece of aluminum angle I put right in there. And I know what it is for my detailed spindle gouges, and over here for my standard bowl gouge and my Marshall A bowl gouge. But I have a different piece of aluminum for each one. And that gives me the consistent grind. Okay. All right. So moving right along here, what I'm going to take here is a 12-inch long 1 3/4 square. And basically what I'm going to do is mark the centers of them. And I use my little center finder. And I've already done that. So, okay. Let me get back over here. And
Hey, Johnny, we couldn't see what you were doing there. Could you go over that again? I'm a little confused.
Okay, so am I, but all right, let me do that. Bear with me just a minute.
We got a lot of camera shake, so you find a standing point for the camera, we'll probably get past that.
Get down here. Okay. That. All right. What I've taken here is a 12-inch 1 3/4 square bore. I use my center finder to mark it. Both ends. But when I cut it, I squared off both ends. So I'd be ready to chuck it up there. And actually, I'm going to start off between centers. Let's see here. Yeah. Now, I'm going to switch cameras here. The rest of it's going to be on the other camera there. Okay.
All right, looking at a lathe. Now, warn us before that happens.
Okay. Hey, can you switch over to my other camera, Johnny's iPhone?
Ooh.
We're looking at your face right now, Johnny.
Yeah, if you would switch over to my iPhone.
Okay, I'm trying to get there. Want to co-host grab it?
I can help with that, Eddie, if you want to make me a co-host.
Yep, all right, I'll get there. Thought I did that. We're working at it, folks.
All right, Johnny, we got your overhead. Your overhead is now set. Except we can't hear you. You need to unmute the overhead or something, Johnny.
I can't find you at all, man.
All right, now you're unmuted. Thank you.
Okay. Gonna mute this other one. Okay. All right. This is just one I did earlier today, and we'll get back to that one in a minute. But this is what I'm going to turn is a just a regular little tool handle, and it's going to be for a spindle type gouge. It's going to be about a 12-inch handle. So what I'm going to do here, I put 2 centers on here to start this with. Is this the right one? Picked up the wrong one.
Joe Cheney reports that he's got a technical problem. He has a Powermatic lathe that's just not that color, Johnny.
Oh, yeah, that happens sometimes. All right.
Johnny, when we wrap this up, I got some folks asking if they could see your center finder. So let's close in on it when we wrap up so they can see what it is.
Okay.
And Dave Rhodes would love to see a little detail on that. You know how Dave is. He, if it happens, he's going to be nosy and get there.
Okay, basically I'm going to use 4 tools on this. I'm going to use a roughing gouge, spindle roughing gouge to rough it out. I'm going to use a skew, a parting tool, and I may use a little detail spindle gouge. I'm going to get my mask here. See if you can still hear me.
We got you. Folks, during
All
this
right.
demonstration, if you could hold your questions and comments until the end of the demonstration, it allows the demonstrator to stay focused on his project. We will get to your questions. We will help you out. But let's let Johnny stay centered here.
Okay, here we go. Okay, now I'm going to mark one in for the chuck here because I'm going to switch it out of here and put it in this little chuck. This is a little nifty thing. I may have showed this before. It just holds my pencils. I got one on the tail side, one on the head side. Okay, we got room to go here. And I'm going to go ahead and take a parting tool, and I'm going to cut this down for my chuck here. And I'm just going to take a little scraper and put a little dovetail on this. Most of you know, an important thing, anytime you put a piece in a chuck, you want a good square shoulder up here, which will keep that thing in the chuck, okay? So that's what we're looking for. So now I'm going to take it out from between centers. I'm going to take my center out of the chuck. And we're going to crank her down. You may have noticed I like the steb centers. If you're not familiar with a steb center, what it does is more or less a safety center. It doesn't have the great big spurs on it. It's got a spring-loaded center point in it. And I like to use that to hold it up against the chuck while I tighten the chuck. I want this tight because I'm getting ready to drill out here. What I'm going to use when I do these, I use a, bear with me 1 minute here. This is what I use to hold the tool itself on these. They are, let me get a tool here. I like to use these because when I sharpen my tools, I take them out of the handle. And I don't know if you can see that, but that's going to slide into there. All I have to do is loosen these 2 set screws and pull it out to sharpen it. It just makes it easier than having a big long handle and the piece on there. But that's what I'm going to use tonight. You can also just cut it and use a piece of copper pipe, for instance, for the end to reinforce the front end of it. But this is what I'm going to use tonight. And I'm going to put these up here out of the way. So in order to do that, that takes a 5/8 inch hole drilled in the end. So I'm going to back this out, take off my step center. Steps in here for a minute. And I'm going to take a 5/8 inch Forstner bit. Like that. I'm going to take that out of here. I'm going to turn her down. I like to drill this thing about 500 to 600 RPMs. Okay. Always hold your chuck. I don't have the dust collector on because it makes too much noise. So I'm going to go in roughly 3 inches, which is more than enough. Okay, and that's it for the drilling. Put that away for now. And that's also going to be it for the chuck. Okay. That. Going back to stem centers. No, messed up there. I'm going to put it back between centers. And basically the cone of this is going to hold it in the center, because that hole is the new center. Put it in there, start the thing up. Okay. I'm a little below center where I want to be when I use this rough and gouge. Basically what I'm going to do now is turn it down to my largest outside diameter. And in order to do that, I'm going to use dividers. I've got all 3 of the dimensions on here and they're all numbered. So I'm going to have to take it down a little bit. But we're going to the largest diameter that is going to be down here. Let's see if we're anywhere close here. We're close here. This is a piece of cherry, by the way. And you can use any kind of wood you want to make your handles with. I've made them from everything, mahogany, just about everything but pine. And we should be pretty close here. We are right on it. Okay, so that's our outside diameter. Okay, what we're going to do now is take out my handy dandy little story stick. And I made enough handles. I have a story stick for the
We lost Johnny. Well, we're going to get it back to you. Who got him before? Can we get him back? Johnny Hughes, okay, we still have him here.
He's still in the list, but I don't.
Johnny's iPhone is also there. Spotlight Johnny's iPhone. There's his iPhone again.
He's back. No worries.
He's muted though.
I can't unmute him.
There you go. Is that better? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I was going over the story stick. I've got a little notch here. Normally, when I turn a handle, and this is for the 12-inch handle, this piece up here I would leave if I was going to insert the gouge or whatever and epoxy it in there. But I'm not. I'm going to use the aluminum inserts I was showing you before. So I'm going to back my little story stick up here, and you'll notice I have little lines here, and I have filed a little notch inside each one of those. And that's to let my pencil lay here where I wanted to make these lines. So I'm going to turn it back on, lay my story stick up. I'm going to come in here and make me a few little lines here and there. Just like that. That's the story stick. And what I'm going to do is come in here and mark these lines. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take the pair of dividers, mark number 2 up here, because I know that this line here is going to be the smallest dimension here. This is the largest, this is the smallest. So we're going to come in here with our parting tool. There we go. That's going to be our smallest dimension there. Now all we have to do is turn down this end and down through the middle there. So here we go. One thing I want to do, I want to mark the dimensions for my piece here. It's going to be right about there. Okay. And I'm going to take it down till it fits perfectly there. So and we're close. That's pretty close. That's right where I want to be. Okay. Now this part here, you kind of leave it up to the way you like the shape of your handles, but I'm going to take that down quite a bit. Carefully, because I don't want to too much play in here. and vice versa. We're going to do the same thing back here. I'm going to take my number 3 piece, come in here with my divider. Okay, that's close enough. Okay. Okay, I'm going to tear that out just a little bit here. Okay. I want to keep this in there. I'm just going to make these notches a little bit wider. What I'm going to do is take my little wire here, and I'm going to burn into it here. Get rid of some of the smoke. And that's my basic shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it with a piece of 180 real quick. I like to turn it down there again to about 600 for my sanding, between 500 and 600. Makes your sandpaper last longer. And That's it at 320. Something I like to do. A lot of people don't do it, but I do. It's raise the grain on this thing. I like my handles to be very smooth. So what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to spray it down with a little water. Cherry's not bad about raising the grain. But we're going to put that on there. Let it soak for half a minute. Has anybody got any questions while we're at this moment?
How long is your tool rest?
Pardon me?
How long is that tool rest you're using?
Oh, I think it's, I don't know. That's my longest single one. I do have a double post that goes 28 inches. But that's 15 inches.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, it comes in handy for something like this. The like I said, I've got one that's 28 inches, but it takes both banjos. And we don't need that. Okay, that's drying pretty good.
Johnny, I was watching you with that skew, and that's the most enjoyable part. When you see somebody work with a skew, you can enjoy that.
Well, thank you. I try to use it and practice with it every now and then. So I use it quite a bit, especially on spindle stools. So.
It's an enjoyable tool once you know how it works.
Yes, if I ever figure it out, I'll be ready. So, let's see. Okay, so that raised the grain on it right there. And what I did, I started out with 180, 240, and 320. So I'm going to go back to the 320 real quick and knock that down. Make it noisy for a minute because I'm going to turn this dust collector on.
I can say that Ronnie and I have seen that dust collector. He's got a system. It's nice. Watch that dust disappear.
I'm looking at that dust collector, and if Johnny don't keep both feet on the ground, I think it's going to suck him in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it does pretty good. And that's 320, which is pretty smooth, but I'm going to hit it with 400 watts. Call it a day here. I know a lot of y'all don't want to watch sanding, but it's kind of necessary. Let's see here.
It's not sanding, it's finishing.
That's it, finishing. That's when you put it that way, it sounds better. Okay. Hit it with a little bit of 400 here. And your higher grits, you really need to go slow because if you don't, it's just going to skip right over everything. Okay. Okay. So that is basically where we're going to go. But I do one more thing here, and that is I'm going to put a little sand and sealer on it. Cherry doesn't require a lot of sand and sealer, but it's going to get a little bit. There's my antique Sun Herald newspaper.
You still make those things out of paper?
Well, actually, they don't here anymore. They,
Members, that sanding sealer, and look at the pop. The chatoyan is coming out from 400 sand. Clean cut. Amazing.
Knock off some of that excess. And that sanding sealer is cut 50-50 with lacquer thinner. It's a lacquer sanding sealer. So get some of that out of there. Got my little burn marks deep enough that they're full of sanding sealer, so I'm going to dry them off. And I like the lacquer-based sanding sealer. It just dries so fast. And that's dry. Okay, so the next step, I'm going to come in here with a little bit of Yorkshire grit or any kind of abrasive paste. There's several of them out there on the market, and they all seem to do the same thing. Because we've got it down to 400 grit, so we're going to put a little abrasive paste on it and kind of buff it up.
Johnny, for those wondering, abrasive paste is not a finish. It's a conditioner to bring the material down to an even, smooth finish.
Right, and it's kind of like using a 1800, 2000 grit, because it will smooth it out even more than we did with the 400 grit. And I'll put lacquer over the top of this, or sometimes I've used CA glue, but normally lacquer, because you can't really tell a whole lot of difference in them. What I have here, one of these is done in lacquer and the other one's done in CA glue, and you really can't tell the difference in them. They're just they're both good finishes, and they're durable enough for what I'm going to use them for.
Johnny, the way that you're using that abrasive paste, I'm glad to see it. You put the sanding sealer on, and then you come with the abrasive paste. A lot of times
Right.
you'll see people just put abrasive paste right on bare wood, and that's not the way it's recommended.
No, it's not. Not at all. All I'm doing is working in this abrasive paste, and that's going to smooth it out, just like compounding an automobile or something. When you put a rubbing compound on it, it's basically the same thing here.
And for you younger members, compound used to be the way we polished cars a long time ago.
Yes, it is. I guess I'm showing my age there. Now I just want to be sure I get all of that abrasive paste off of there, or at least most of it off of there. So I've turned it up a little bit, probably about 1500 RPM, somewhere in there. Cleaned out my burn lines. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, now, and I've heard people say, well, you know, you can't put a lacquer on it if it's got an abrasive paste on it because that has some wax in it. But that's not true. I've got things that are done with abrasive paste, and I've sprayed them with lacquer, and they've been that way for years. Never had a problem. Okay, that's just sanded and abrasive paste on it right there. So clean these little black lines out of here. Make sure I got all the abrasive paste.
Please note that he's using a piece of
Paper towel.
Paper towel, not cloth, paper towel.
I just want to make sure I got everything out of there. And there we go. That is ready for lacquer. So okay, so somebody's going to ask, well, what about the end there where you had your steb center? I got a solution for that. Yeah. Bear with me 1 second here.
Members, in a few minutes, we're going to return to gallery. I've had the video gallery, I believe, is ready to load and go back again. We're also going to be collecting information through our website for our event calendar. I see a couple of things popped up on a chat tonight. That's where if you got an item, a calendar item, regardless of if it's pay-per-view or whatever, you can put it in the chat. We will add it to our events calendar, and it's open to the entire world. So if you got something to list, put it in there.
Okay, so what I've done here is I'm gonna move this out of the way. We don't need that anymore. Are we still there?
No, we lost you. We lost your iPhone. We're gonna get something else. Johnny's iPhone.
Somebody was calling me on it. That's what it was. So let me see if I can get rid of them. Okay, I should be back.
Pay off your student loan, Johnny.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have one of those, but they the VA took care of that. So, at any rate, here we go. There's the end where my steb center was. And in order to cover that, you can go down to Michael's or Hobby Lobby and get a furniture tack. And a little furniture tack is going to go right into there. I'll leave it enough so we can drive it in, and that covers that. And then this
Great
piece
idea.
here
That's a great idea.
is going to be
I've got
covered.
some of those.
Yeah, it kind of serves
Right
two
there.
purposes, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. So that's what we're looking at there. It's a finished tool, but I'm not going to epoxy this in or the tack because I still have to spray it with lacquer. So, but that
Nice
is,
looking handle, Johnny.
well, thank you. That's why I like them there because it's just so handy to take them out when you go to sharpen them. It just really is. If you notice on the spindle gouge there. It's a whole lot easier to sharpen them without that big handle on it. So, but that's why I use those type of tool handles. And you can get those from anybody. There's several people that sell them, you know, Cindy and Doug and my son, everybody makes them. So there, if you like to do that, that's what I like. So that's just one of those things. And that's it. That's how I make a tool handle.
Nice demo.
Well, thank you. Any questions?
Good demo, Johnny.
Thank you.
Thanks, Johnny.
Well,
That
thank
was
you.
real good.
Well,
Loved it.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody? Oh, you're welcome there.